Okay, you ready? Okay. As I drive to Lamar in order to get to my classes, I stop at a red light near the campus and notice someone standing at the intersection with a cardboard sign that reads, "Anything helps." Every day at this intersection, I see a different person with a different sign asking for any type of help from anybody. As the light turns green, I take a left under the underpass and look to my left to see a small tent city that has formed under the underpass. It's in that moment that I realize that homelessness isn't some problem that just affects people living in large cities around the country, but something that affects people all across the country. The U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development estimates that in 2017 there were about 554,000 homeless people living somewhere in the United States on any given night. Of that 554,000, 193,000 of those people were considered unsheltered, which means that they were living on the streets and didn't have any access to shelters, housing, or safe havens. So no matter where you live, there is undoubtedly some homeless people that live near you. Homelessness is a major problem that affects hundreds of thousands of people all across the country, and there are some things that can be done to help end homelessness in America. There isn't just one thing that can be done to end homelessness in America though, but three things could greatly help and possibly could put an end to homelessness in America. Firstly, the people in the community must come together and help the people in their community. Secondly, rehousing needs to happen quickly and effectively in order for people to have access to a home. And finally, employment opportunities need to increase alongside of income in order to reduce homelessness. Homelessness in the United States has continued to grow even though the economy has been getting stronger and bigger and more stable. That leads to a very important question, since logically speaking, as the economy grows, more jobs are created, which gives homeless people better chances at getting a job, which would greatly help them to escape homelessness. However, more and more people are becoming homeless. So why is the number of homeless people across the United States still growing? There are several reasons as to why homelessness in the United States is growing. Firstly, many people become homeless due to mental illnesses or addictions, such as drug or alcohol addictions. These problems make it hard for people to maintain and keep a decent job, which causes them to not have enough money to afford a place to live. Secondly, the price of rent in larger cities in the United States have sharply increased. Look at Los Angeles. Over the past 6 years in the city and county of LA have experienced a 75% increase in homelessness. The number of people living on the streets in shelters in Los Angeles increased from 32,000 to roughly 55,000 people over a 6-year period. This all happened as the rent prices in Los Angeles hit and stayed at record highs. Also, as prices increase in the United States, the minimum wage continues to remain the same or barely increase at several parts across the country. Finally, a large part of why homelessness has grown over the past year is that cities aren't expanding fast enough. Between the years 2011 and 2015, New York added enough housing to house over 125,000 people, but its population grew by more than 300,000 over that same time period. That is 50% less housing that is required. There just isn't enough housing and space for everyone, which helps contribute to the homelessness problem in the United States. These problems all contribute to this growing issue in the United States. Fortunately, there are things that can be done to end homelessness across the country. One of the first things that need to happen in order for homelessness to end in a specific community is that the people of that community must come together and try to help end homelessness within their community. The people within the community need to collect data about the specific problems and people who are homeless in order to determine the steps that need to be taken to end homelessness within the community. Once they have gotten enough data, they need to create a step-by-step plan focused on helping homeless people escape homelessness. However, the people within the community must continue to collect data to keep up with the changes that happen or the changes that they make to help the homeless community. Another thing that needs to be done to help end homelessness in the United States is rapid rehousing. Rapid rehousing helps provide short-term rental assistance and services to people. The goal of rapid rehousing is to help people quickly get into a house and stay housed. The reason that this helps homeless people is because its preconditions such as unemployment, income, absence of criminal record, and sobriety are not required in order for people to move into these houses. Also, rapid rehousing is typically less expensive than other housing interventions such as shelters or transitional housing. Finally, income for people experiencing homelessness must increase. The largest reason that people are homeless is because they are experiencing a financial crisis. They simply cannot afford to pay for rent or utilities or other bills necessary to keep a house. In order to increase income for homeless people, the government and other organizations need to help more, or more need to be created. The government needs to help by increasing benefits to homeless people, such as providing them with more food stamps or larger unemployment checks. Both of these things would go a very long way in order to helping homeless people receive more income. However, many organizations have been created to help combat homelessness within the United States, such as the Temporary Assistance for Needy Families, the Workforce Investment and Opportunity Act, and the Social Security Disability Income Outreach, Access, and Recovery Program. These organizations have all helped reduce homelessness across the country. But in order for organizations such as these to be able to do more, they need more funding from either donors or from the government. If these three things happen all across the country, then homelessness in the United States would become almost non-existent, because there would be more low-income rent housing, more jobs, and more people trying to end homelessness in the United States. As the number of homeless people in the United States grows, people cannot deny that something must be done to stop this. If people would come together and help the homeless within their community, they could greatly help bring an end to homelessness in the United States. But that alone wouldn't be enough. Rehousing would need to become a priority in low-income areas, and the government and other organizations that focus on reducing homelessness would need to invest more. Homelessness has always been a major issue that people all across the United States deal with. With a little more work, the American people could put an end to homelessness in the United States. Thank you.